Speedrunner Gathering. 2-day speedrunning marathon happening to you live from Glasgow in Scotland. We are raising money to support Crisis, and thank you very much to the amazing people at PSG for continuing to support this event. Let's go towards the next run, which is Hell Mad Mike versus Tiny Tim in Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge. Any percent easy. Let's zoom on over.
Thank you so much, Rexy. Hello there, folks. Hello, hello. My name is TinyTim78, and with me we have the fantastic...
Hello, I'm Hell Mad Mike. Hello, everyone.
And we also have Racing Man #1 here,
Oh,
our very own Murray Walker.
That's an introduction.
We have Viper here as well, because we're going to be concentrating on playing, so
yes.
Viper's going to get to talk. So that's probably,
that'll be a change.
Yeah, that'll be good. Before we start, though, first of all, two things. I want to thank UKSG, first of all, for taking this run. I also want to thank everybody for the amazing donations we've had towards the incentive. It has been absolutely brilliant. Can we please get the result of that incentive now then, Rexy? If we don't mind.
Okay then, yes, I should have had that ready. Our chooser of the music is going to be Tiny Tim.
Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. We put this, I must give Mike the credit for this, by the way, because it was his idea to have that as an incentive, and thank you again to all your amazing donations for that towards Crisis. It makes a huge difference. So it does mean that you will get to hear the music that I choose, and I will choose it when we start.
Yes, but
okay.
just to give everyone a quick wrap-up, I mean, if you've ever watched either of these two speedrunning, you'll know what this game is, but this is Lotus Turbo Esprit Challenge. I may not necessarily
Lotus
got
Esprit
that
Turbo
Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge, yeah.
This was released in 1990 for a multitude of systems, most notably the Amiga version, which we're playing here. And I was brought up on the far superior Atari ST version.
We'll see about that.
But I'm willing to condescend to play this version. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really add about this, for coming out in 1990, one of the biggest takeaways from this is, compared to a lot of other games at the time, the frame rate on this is super, super sweet. It is like really fast, and you had things at the time like Outrun, Chase HQ that were barely pulling double-figure frame rates, and if you've never seen this before, you'll be pretty impressed with what they did.
Yeah, and hopefully Viper will talk about it as well. But
I'll try my best.
The reason that the screen is split is down to performance issues.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. Right, without further ado, I think we're ready to go. Time will start when I select the music, so I'll count you in as well, Mike.
Okay, go.
We're going for music track number 3. So here we go.
I suppose I better pick it too.
Yeah.
Right. So you're in the same one.
Okay, so here we go. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, go! Good luck!
Right. Whilst these guys are doing their thing, firstly, hello. Yeah, so this game was released before I was born, so I know nothing about it. Surprise, surprise, though. Yes, Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge racing game. Who would have thought it? The Lotus Esprit was made, had various different generations, or whatever you want to call it, back in the 80s and early 90s. So the one we're driving here, I believe, is the S2 model.
Esprit SE.
Esprit SE model, thank you very much, Tim. Now, these guys have got 7 races to do each. A few things to mention. So the first race involves them having 4 laps. However, you'll notice that they have an RPM and they have a fuel gauge underneath. If they run out of fuel, their car just stops and it's game over, so they may have to do pit stops during some of these races. There's 2 other difficulties for this. There's the medium and hard, I believe it is.
Yep.
Medium and hard are a lot longer than easy. Unsurprisingly, the AI gets harder, the races get longer, and so on. One of the main things which Tim and Mike both kindly pointed out to me, so this is more of a case of not just about how good your driving is, but how good you can navigate the cars in front of you. So you'll notice that as you're driving, that there will be other cars that you'll have to overtake. You always start dead last, it's 20th to first, you must finish within the top 10. However, just because you're first doesn't mean, as Mike and Tim have both found out already, doesn't mean that there's going to be no cars in front of you. There will be other cars that you must overtake. So I believe the guy that did the soundtrack for this was Barry Leach, is that right, Tim?
I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that there was tracks from this game we used in other games as well of the era.
Yes.
I think Supercars 2, perhaps. I'm not sure if there's any others you know of, Mike.
No, not at all. But what I will say, it is an awesome soundtrack. The only slight downside is that you just get the same song start to finish. maybe would have been a bit nicer to
It would have made a big difference.
be able to at least have a bit of variation throughout.
That's the other reason I don't play hard, because 15 tracks of the same music does get a bit
Yes.
a bit annoying.
So
And it's a long run as well, hard. It's nearly an hour, basically.
Oh yeah, it is. It's over an hour for me. It's a rough category.
So the funny thing is, the reason I mention Barry Leach, I believe it is because of the fact that he also did music for Horizon Chase Turbo, and a game that was heavily inspired by this, as well as the classic Outrun games. And he was able to, he's recently done, I think it was like a couple of months ago, he recently released the official Horizon Chase Turbo soundtrack himself. Obviously being a composer, obviously some composers don't make that much money, including him. However, you're able to buy like the full soundtrack and everything like that. I think you can buy it on vinyl even. Like he's gone as far back as that. I believe you can. There was a Horizon Chase Turbo 2 game that also came out, I think 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, something like that. Highly recommend checking those out. They are very similar to this. The fuel thing doesn't really exist in those games. However, games that are around, racing games that are around the same sort of generation as this, included, I believe, Top Gear was one that was very popular. That included, obviously, it had a few others as well. I think Top Gear 2, Top Gear 3000, I want to say, was another one.
I mean, I'm just going to say, comparatively, between this and Outrun, forget the ST or the Amiga, Outrun is just...
Outrun's on another level.
How much better it could have been if they'd have just put the time and effort that they did into this. It's like night and day playing between them.
We were talking about it before the run as well, but there's another game similar to this that I was had the misfortune of playing recently. Jaguar XJ220.
Oh, yes. Amazing car, not so amazing game.
For those that don't know about Jaguar X220, real quick, I'm just going to jump into some car knowledge. First car to reach over 200 miles an hour. However, it didn't last long, because guess what came along and beat it? It was the McLaren F1.
Another fun fact about it, because I know my Jags, it was called the 220 because that was supposedly its top speed. Fun fact though, it couldn't actually even do it. The fastest, they stripped one down, took it to a speed track, and the fastest they could get it to do was 218.7 or something. So even despite the fact it was called the 220.
Now, I actually have some trivia regarding that car. So, I was at a classic car show last year, and the Jaguar X220 had a first concept, and it had a different engine into the final one. So what was the final? What was the engine that was in the
twin turbo V6?
Yeah, do you know the original
it was supposed
V12?
To be a V12, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's why the car was commercially so. I don't know why we're going off on a Jaguar.
No, it's fine. Hey, look, it's classic cars. We can go off on that tangent.
It's why the car was
it's
such
fine.
a commercial flop. It was supposed to have a V12, and they decided.
It makes
to go.
a great noise, though. I do like the XJ220.
Yes.
Can be said a bit more of a Jag. It's a Jag. Anyone gets that Top Gear reference? Well done. I'm pretty sure everybody gets it. But yeah, so the XJ220 was, again, keeping slightly on that tangent. We'll move back to Lotus in a second. Yeah, so with the Jaguar X220, so I believe there was only 2 of them ever made that was the V12s, one of which was bought by Elton John, I believe. I think it might, unless, I can't remember, there was some story regarding the V12 version. Oh no, sorry, no, he bought the V6 version because of the fact, he bought the car because he was like, oh, I'm going to get a V12 thing, and it turned around and was like, yeah, it's a twin-turbo V6, sorry, and he's like, oh, what? So he ended up having an XJ220, which he probably didn't want. Going back to Lotus, though, the actual game we're actually here to watch.
Yep.
So Lotus actually has a fair few games, to be honest. So, obviously, as Tim mentioned, it was Lotus Challenge 3, was it you were saying?
Lotus Esprit, yeah, Lotus 3, as it was called, yeah, just Lotus 3.
But they had, in modern times, I say modern times, 20 years ago, there was a game called Lotus Challenge that released in the early 2000s for PlayStation 2, Xbox and PC, and I heard that that wasn't very well received.
I've never played that, to be honest, I didn't even know that existed.
But it's like a more modern version. Now, Lotus is for those that aren't sure about Lotus, it's obviously gone through various changes over the years, cars and everything as well. Was popular with James Bond in the 80s, I believe, especially the Esprit S2, I think it was.
Yeah, the white one.
I forget exactly which film. Was it For Your Eyes Only? I can't remember.
It was one of the 70s films, I think, actually.
Yeah.
And it was the white Esprit that was modified to work underwater.
That was the one, yeah. Because apparently that's what it's British architecture. Of course, it's going to work underwater. Apparently. Yeah. So like the Lotus brand has been around for quite a while. Now, one thing I can kind of quickly mention, we mentioned the refueling. This is kind of it being put in effect.
This is it coming up.
Both of these guys are going to have to stop for fuel, which usually involves just after the start-finish line, there's usually like a little pits thing. You have to stop about as fast as you can. And then what will happen is your fuel tank will slowly refresh. It'll go up slowly, and then you have to carry on going. Now, the AI cheats in this regard. They don't stop. So essentially, you're stacked against it. So this is what I mean here. So this is now the pit lane here, as Tim's just pulling in. And you can see that Mike's only topped up enough fuel that he needs to get to the end. That's how this all works. You wouldn't even want to try and risk it. As I said, if you run out of fuel, that's it. Time's up, game's over, whatever you want to call it.
There's no do-overs. A bit of a theme for the games I run, I think, but there's no do-overs. It's just game over.
Absolutely.
Just to ask, was there ever an arcade cabinet of this?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Wouldn't make sense to have it though. It's like, oh yeah, here's a timer, here's a car, and if you run out.
It's very interesting actually, because the second game in the series is a bit of a change, because this is like a circuit sort of track-based game, and the next one is more of almost a rally game in that it's got stages and it's time-based, whereas this one is sort of circuit-based. But yeah, and then the third one's a combination of the two.
So probably one thing I can actually mention is earlier this year actually there was a game that came out called Top Racer Collection, and whilst going through the game I played it a little bit and I was like, this game feels familiar. So I was like, well, it's got to be an ode to something in particular. So Top Racer Collection, which really, like I said, released earlier this year, it is a collection of the Top Gear games, except they're called Top Racer. Nice way of getting away with copyright. I like the idea. However, the other thing is, and this I don't know if you both guys will like this or not, but some of the music that's in there, I was having to listen to it and I was like, this seems very familiar. So it turns out that some music from Horizon Chase Turbo is in it.
Ah, okay.
And also some of the music from the original Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge is also in it as well.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Now, how they've got away with this, I don't know. But maybe this is the first time lawyers are looking in. If you need me, just give me a ring. Yeah, I actually had to ask someone at the developers. I think it's Aquina Studios that developed it. Who also developed Horizon Chase Turbo. And I got in contact with someone there because they got in contact with me regarding the original game and everything. And I asked them, I said, you guys have helped develop this Top Racer collection. Actually, no, sorry, no. I was like, this company that's made it is Brazilian. You guys are Brazilian. Have they asked you that they can use your soundtrack in their game? And he's like, the guy literally responded with, I don't know. I don't work on their team anymore. And I'm like, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen, I can tell. Yeah, feel free to give that a try. So you guys were both saying, so originally, so obviously you're both playing on the Amiga, but Mike, you were mentioning there's the Atari ST version, correct?
The Superior.
Superior
We'll
version,
see.
yes.
Yeah.
This will ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, quite.
It's me and Tim have gone for it. It's just friendly banter, but it just goes back to the 80s. You either had an Atari ST or you had an Amiga, and each system had their own kind of pluses and minuses. Generally speaking, though, the Amiga kind of had the better attention when it came to the ports, and this is probably a fine. There's nothing actually wrong with the ST version. Actually runs quite nicely, but the music is just horrendous on it.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, if we had the ST version with the Amiga music, that would actually be heaven for you.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to just think for a second.
Yes. Oh yeah. Right,
there we go.
My bad.
Sorry, I nearly forgot to pit then, and that would have been.
I didn't pit.
Sorry, my bad.
You haven't pitted.
I took a gamble.
Risking this to beat you.
I took a gamble.
I thought about it, but crikey.
We're gonna gamble, Jim. We're gonna gamble.
If I've lost, I've lost. But I did it the other day. I did a run and I didn't run out of fuel.
That's
I was
very brave move.
I was
but
right over the
off.
line. I was right over the line.
That's a bold strategy, Carl.
I don't
Let's see
think
if
it's
it
going
pays
to work.
off.
It's not going to work. I don't think I can see my fuel. No, I've screwed it.
You sure?
Yep. Yep. There we go.
Oh, that was a super bold strategy there.
There we go.
Can we have a round of applause for Tim, because that really
he was trying.
That did take some courage. That I would never dare to do that in a marathon setting.
It was flicking over in my head whether or not I was going to do it or not, but I thought, well, I might as well. But it didn't work. But hey, there
Is
we
this
go.
why there's a 30-minute estimate in case you try bold strategies and it doesn't
No,
pay off?
no, no.
Oh, okay. Fair.
I'm going to go overestimate now, but hey.
Well, still, you tried. You tried.
You get some more racing.
You get the consolation prize.
Anything to say just now, Rexy?
Oh, we have a whole bunch of donations to end up reading out. Okay, so we have a $25 donation from Big Dave saying, Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge. The classic Atari racing game inspired by the average drive down the A74 on the first week of the school holidays. Alright, well, thank you very much for that. We have a $15 donation from Kissinchu saying, ending homelessness is undoubtedly among the most important cause there is. Couple that with Tiny Tim on screen, a beacon of light and good vibes in the speedrunner community, and I simply had to donate. Good luck to all runners. Cheers from Brazil.
Cheers.
And we've got a $20 donation from Beauclois saying, just win the race. Just win the race. Just
No.
win the race. I don't care what it takes. Just find a way to win the race.
This sounds like Rebel's advice, just win the race for her. It
Yeah.
just sounds like Rebel advice, that.
I have to say though, I think we have to credit Tim as well because he did like the super realism percent because that's about the same
Right, I
amount of
feel
time
the
that the
Lotus.
Lotus would have broke.
Run out of fuel in a Lotus. That's about the average day out, isn't it not?
No, I think that was probably a bit silly, but it's weird because that is completely
Yeah.
RNG.
I was so tempted to. You get tempted to try it because you know it's a very fine margin, but you can finish that race without
Yes.
pitting at all. But it is like super fun. The amount of times that I've done it that I've crossed the line without a fuel on the screen, like literally just limped it over.
No, I did that with my run last week. And I did it at my first run of this at ESA, I think. I ran out of fuel in Spain. I ended up using a reload then. But hey, it is what it is. We're here to go fast. We're here to have fun. We're here to raise money for charity. So, apologies for messing that one up. But
And this is a super fast game as well. As I said, the frame rate on this is compared to everything else that came even after this is just gorgeous. It's by far and away one of the best racing games of its time.
oh, absolutely. I mean, this game, as we've said, is older than Viper, and it holds up. It holds up really, really, really well.
This
I
is
mean,
what I
you
get.
enjoy
innit,
play-
for-
you-
this, this is what I get for being born in 1997,
But
isn't
you
it?
enjoyed playing this game in Viper, didn't you? Viper and I played this game
did,
before, by
yeah.
the way,
Surprise,
at UKSG.
surprise.
And somehow I won.
I played it a little bit thanks to Tim, so I've had a bit of a crack at this. We actually had a crack at this when our first back on site UKSG about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Tim won that one, just about, but I was actually quite surprised I kept up with him, to be honest. I think I did lose like a race or two during that, but that was fine. But the thing is as well, you're talking from a guy that's had about 20 or so, if not more, years of experience versus a guy that's had like 6 weeks. You know, it was a big kick in the teeth for me. If he'd lost, it would have been worse.
30.
30, yeah, thank you. It would have been way worse if Tim had lost that one, I think. But yeah,
And again,
I think it goes well.
Mike has not played this game anywhere near as much as I have, but has done it a lot more recently.
I have a lot more recent experience.
A lot more
for
recent
sure.
time in it, so
So you're telling me there's a chance?
no. Not unless Mike fails a race.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a possibility.
That's the estimate out the window if he fails.
If I fail China, I am not picking it up again from that point. Just to explain, to expound a little on the I don't like to really call it AI because it's not really. The enemy cars, and I do call them enemy cars because they are not like they're not friendly to you in the slightest. They just weave left and right. The pattern is predetermined when you start the race, but all they do is weave left and right. Annoyingly, they can't overtake each other, but they can just clip through you. So one of the biggest challenges in this game, particularly from a speedrun point of view, which this is part of the reason I've got Viper next to me, because if it was just me commentating, I'd be turning the airwaves blue because this game very much annoys me.
Bit like me with Tales Noir, so I understand that sentiment.
But yeah, that's undoubtedly the most annoying factor. They get in your way, but they can just clip through you, and the fact that they are just merciless with you. It's
The other thing we can probably mention too is that, as if it's not obvious already, that they race through some very interesting countries, like Iceland, for whatever reason, is raceable. Apparently, you can race through that. They race through Sweden. It's an interesting one because in general racing games, even back then, I think games like racing games in particular were not racing in Iceland. to be honest. There's not just I say that, but like there is a few bizarre ones.
You go to Scotland in hard difficulty.
That's what I mean. Like most racing games just
Oh,
don't even include Scotland because it's
And
like, oh well,
Wales.
it's there you go.
Yeah, no, in easy you've got, I couldn't list all the other ones, but in easy you've got, in order, Italy, Mexico, Iceland, Spain, where I ran out of fuel, England, Sweden and China.
That's what I mean. But like the only way you get like some of the racing, some of them countries is in like an F1 game or something, like China for example. But yeah, in a traditional racing game, you won't race in China. There's not too many racing games that race in China, Iceland, and so on. The games are all spread out as well, so you might get something like, I don't know, Colin McRae Dirt 2, for example, that released in 2009. You can race in China in that. Then you might race in Iceland in a game something like MotorStorm in the modern generation. Games that like racing games don't tend to visit other countries outside of like, oh, go to America and the UK, and it's like, yeah, but I've seen this 20 times before. Can you give me something that this did, I suppose, back then? And it still kind of stands out now in that regard.
One of the things I like about this game is the variety in the tracks. I was playing Lotus Esprit, as I said earlier last week, and it just all molds together. There's no individuality to the courses.
Do you at least get a map with later games?
No.
Oh, God.
No.
That was something that was missing from games
Yeah,
a lot.
I think that was probably more, again, a technical limitation.
Yeah, for sure.
But rather than anything else. We haven't actually mentioned the technical limitation, though, about the split screen.
Yeah, well, go on, Tim. You can roll with that one.
Okay, as you can see, both Mike and I have a split screen. So we have our driver at the top, and we have a little
They can't see
mechanic
the split screen.
in the
Sorry,
bottom.
Tim.
You can.
We can. They can't.
It's half.
Oh no, they can. Sorry.
They
you
can.
can.
They
Yeah,
can
you
see the
can.
full lot.
Sorry, I'll keep quiet.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it is split. It is split. And the whole idea with that is that basically for frame rate reasons, for performance reasons, interestingly enough, when you play on two-player, it still holds up quite well.
Yeah, for sure.
There isn't any major problems with it.
It wasn't uncommon for games at the time, though, to literally try and find. I mean, a border was typically a common way to make the actual gameplay smaller, but it still appear full screen. It's like I think you can do it in Doom, can't you? Where you can literally shrink the screen to help performance on the systems back then, and it was a similar kind of dodge. I mean, it wasn't really full screen, but with a border, it kind of looked a bit full screen.
Oh, we should probably mention, by the way, just a real quick one. So the game might look like it's cut off at both sides.
Yeah, no worries.
But it might look like the game's cut off a bit too much at the sides, but that's mainly just because of emulator reasons.
Yeah.
I'll just point that out in case that wasn't obvious nearly 20 minutes in.
Amiga emulation is challenging.
It's still not perfect, is it?
No.
All these years later, it's still not perfect.
Atari ST emulation's great.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's
that's because the Atari ST is the inferior machine.
This is going to be going on for a while, and I can't say anything in this. All I can go say, PlayStation's better. Boom, that's me out. Anyhow.
Right, I'm back at my nemesis, and Mike is just about to finish.
Oh no! Well, I've got to traverse China.
You might still be able to come in underestimate, though.
I should come in underestimate, maybe,
Just.
if I'm lucky.
China is, as anyone who's watching can see, is an absolutely horrendous track. There's water that forces cars onto just one side of the road. I've had a pretty nice start here, to be honest, but the last stretch of hill here, if you don't maintain your speed going up this, you'll like end up creeping up it at about 40, 50 miles an hour.
And everybody goes past
Everyone goes flying past because they don't have that problem. They can accelerate uphill, but you've got like...
enemy cars.
They are enemies. The cars in this are enemies, they're not opponents. But yeah, it's the only positive with this track, and I think it probably just comes down to the actual limitations of the design of the track, is that you don't have to pit here. You will hear the beeper going off, but you don't actually have to pit here.
It took me years to work that out.
I don't even know.
It literally took me years.
Can you even run out of fuel on this? I mean,
What, in China?
Yeah, is it even theoretically possible, or did they just like...
I've never had it, no.
Don't put me to the test on that one, because I think I would.
Yeah, no, I've never had it, but I always used to think for some reason that you had to pit for it. Because if you look at the fuel,
yeah,
you think, oh, you've got to pit. And I always pitted, and my problem was that is a hard enough race anyway. And if you pit, you lose half a dozen positions easily. And it's nasty, and it's actually quite a short lap as well to get back.
Oh.
So it's all.
Here we go. I've got the uphill creep here.
So just to quickly mention two things whilst Mike's crawling and going up a hill. Firstly and foremost, so you can play this game on, so they're playing on computerized gears, which is auto, and then there's manual. The reason why they're playing on auto, I mean, Tim was saying before he alternates between them, but manual has the problem of a delay in downshift, I suppose, for realism at the time, where you wouldn't downshift the car just like that, like modern games would have done. So you do have that option, and also you can type in your name and so on. When you're on two-player, so when two people are on one particular screen, which I think was originally what you guys were going to do anyway, is when one person finishes, they have to wait until the second person finishes. Otherwise, well, they're just waiting forever. But because of the fact they're playing individually, they're playing one player, that they're able to just finish the race, they don't have to wait on each other, that sort of thing.
And that's actually really interesting, because if we were playing on the same,
You'd still be on your life.
I'd still be
wouldn't you?
okay, because I would have failed the race, but
Well,
I would have come last. Mike would have won the race, but I still would have carried on, even though I'd failed the race because I ran out of fuel. So it's just the way it works out. Right, Rexy, anything else?
Yes, I have some more donations to end up reading out.
Good.
We have a $10 donation from Google Cheese saying, please bear with Tim while he invents new strategies. You know I have to do it, Tim. Sorry.
Oh, boo, boo, boo.
We also have a $5 donation from Wenger saying, good luck with your run, Tim.
Thank you.
And a $10 donation from Killer Chair saying, can't go, boom.
That's time.
For
Oh,
Mike.
yeah, time for Mike. Well done, mate. There you go. And I'm still on England. There we go.
I think I clocked it at 23:36.
Well done, mate.
Which track are you on? England now?
I'm on England,
Okay.
yeah. I've got England, Spain. I've got 3 to go.
Oh, it's
I've got England, Spain, and China.
a British-made car racing in England. You can hear it
Yeah.
rusting.
Well, you can see the roadworks and the rain.
I also may have just forgotten about something. My watch was still ticking from Hibbs' run about 40 minutes ago. Whoops. Anyhow,
Right, well, I'm going to have to try and finish this now. So,
so now all eyes are on Tim, so no pressure, Tim.
Well, you
That's
can
fine.
you can look at my A rating, a Lotus Legend if you like.
Yeah,
I'm just
alright,
saying.
yeah.
The game plays by
you
itself.
should start playing some medium, Mike.
Making God that even harder.
There's always other UKSGs, Tim.
Yeah. Well,
Don't tempt them.
After this, I'm going to have nightmares about running out of fuel. So, this is literally the 3rd time I've run out of fuel. By the way, I ran out of fuel at. In fact, no, it's the
Nice
second time I've run out of fuel.
We was talking about the car actually. The car
Yep.
does have its stats. There we go. See, the stats come up. This game it is educational. See?
Yeah.
Aha. Yeah. You ever wanted to know what it is? There it is. Quick, print screen it. You can see
Yeah.
everything. Just have, or pause the stream. Actually, don't do that. But I was going to say, pause the stream. You can read it.
Yeah, no, I ran out of fuel on my first attempt at this ESA. I ran out of fuel in Spain, and I've done it again today. And then I also failed the race in... What's the last race in medium, Mike?
Oh, I can't
Scotland, is it?
I can't remember. I'd won every race up to that point, and I failed to qualify in the last race,
Yeah.
which was really irritating. You were on
And,
commentary for that one, right, actually? You and Robo.
And on,
It was annoying.
and
But
on
Yes,
the harder
I remember.
difficulties as well, the game itself starts trolling you a bit because you'll notice that there are signs telling you which way to turn. It will get them deliberately the wrong way around for you on harder difficulties.
Yeah.
So, medium.
That's evil.
I mean,
Yeah.
in
I
truth,
mean, it's challenging.
the last 2 tracks of easy, I would argue, are a lot harder
Yes.
than the majority of the tracks on medium.
Yeah.
It's quite misleading, the difficulty. It's
China's harder than some of the tracks on hard.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was the
Yeah, it
early
absolutely
90s,
is.
late 80s, early 90s, so I don't think difficulty was really a thing, was it?
no.
China is rough.
It is. It's I almost want to say it's a badly designed track, but it's interesting.
Yeah. But no, I think it's something that, the apologies to all of our South American viewers, but I think it's something about South America in this game because it's Argentina and Brazil that have got the
Yes.
the signs going the wrong way. So, right. Did I miss the pits? No, I haven't. I better not run out of fuel again. If I do, it's game over. Right, come on. Get some fuel.
Might as well stop. Yeah, I was going to say stop and get some fuel for
Yeah,
this
I
one.
need a bit of fuel. How are we doing for time? Yeah, I'm probably going to go slightly over here, folks. Let's get some fuel. Ugh, here we go. Right. Well, while I'm picking up some
Oh,
fuel...
the game's playing itself now. There you go.
Yeah, well, I'm getting some fuel. Actually, anything else?
Okay, so we're actually $5 away from meeting the max IQ goal for
Oh,
the
come
Wolf's
on,
Goal
Please, yeah, please get that.
on Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. With this, we'll be able to see the Wolf's Goal for full completion on that game, but only if it gets met. We have 3 more runs to get there, but we can do this. We can meet this goal. On top of this, we've also got a $20 donation from Polish friend, Scottish friend with no comments, but thank you very much on that one.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you everyone for your donations. It's an amazing cause we're raising money for here.
Yeah.
So please, please, please do keep them coming in.
Really, really appreciate it. Right, okay, we have Sweden and we have China, so I am going to go over here.
Sorry, Ricardo Pastry.
Yeah, yeah, the names. Did you not see the names?
For those that don't know, yeah, so...
You have Nigel Mainsail, don't you?
Nigel Mainsail.
Ricardo Pastry, or Ricardo Petresi as he's supposed to be known, is an F1 driver.
They're all
So-
F1 drivers, I think, if you look at it, Viper.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there's an Ayrton Senna parody, I
There's
think,
Ayrton
in there
Senna,
somewhere.
yeah. If you look at them closely, I don't know if you can bring them up, Mike. Can you go into the scores, maybe? I don't know if you can bring them up.
That'd actually
No,
be
you
pretty
can't
interesting,
actually, no,
yeah.
because the scores don't have them. It's just the end of the races.
No.
Oh, dear. But
But
anyway,
it's quite amusing.
it's funny as well, because there's not many games that do that whole take mick out of real drivers, I think.
Supercars 2 did it as well.
I was going to say, I think... Well,
Which
I'm
is the
trying
same
to think,
developer.
I'm trying to think modern here. You know.
Yeah, all right. I'm old. I know.
Well, I am not saying nothing. You said it. Anyhow, no,
I'm not sure if it was taking the mick, but more of a licensing issue. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they
exactly.
just fudge it a little bit.
Yeah, fudge it a little bit. They used to do that actually in this era a lot. They did it, for example, Sensible World of Soccer.
Oh yes.
Is the famous one.
They
used to do
did.
that.
There was something to do with like licensing in 80s and 90s in particular was very vivid from what I remember.
It was,
There
new. It was
like-
completely new for video games. Video game
They just stuck people's
licensing of
names on
actual things
everything.
was so new
I
that
think
nobody
Carlos Sykes got a rally game with his name on it.
really.
And it's like, what?
It,
Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna both got racing games with their names on. I'm like,
the problem with the licensing at the time led to such bizarre issues. I mean, one of them, this is a total tangent, but there was a Blade Runner game released for the ZX Spectrum, but it wasn't based on the film, it was based on the Vangelis soundtrack.
Yep.
So, and it says it on the box, based on the Blade
on the
Runner,
soundtrack
based on
to
the
the film.
Vangelis
Yep.
soundtrack. And it's like
how do you
the
base
game.
it on a soundtrack?
There was a couple like that. Yeah.
And but as I said, I think it's just because it was just so new and nobody really knew. I mean, games like this weren't developed by Powerhouse Studios. It was more often than not like just 2 or 3 people at the most. I mean, in ZX Spectrum days particularly, it was one person, usually a
bedroom
14
coders.
or 15-year-old.
It was bedroom coders. Matthew Smith, who wrote Man It Miner, was 17 when it was published. And I still maintain to this day that he was partaking of lots of additional substances when making that game. But sorry, Matthew. But it's a very, very good. It's a very, very good game. So
That game was hard as nails. I
Yeah,
tried it not
yep.
long ago and was like, how the hell do you even beat level 1? Tim just does it with ease.
have you
God.
played Man It Miner, Mike?
Yes. Yeah.
You beat it.
It's but with that being
Be
said,
honest.
well,
Be honest.
have I beaten it?
Have you
Yes.
beaten it?
Oh no. No, I've seen you run Chucky Egg as well, Tim.
Yes.
You get like into the later stages. I'm
We-
done after the first loop, pretty much.
I had a fantastic run at PSG of Chucky Egg. I got to level 24, which was absolutely fantastic. It was really, really good fun. Right, fuel. I'm sorry, this is going to go about 3 or 4 minutes over, so I do apologise. That's purely due to my screw up in Spain by taking a bit of a gamble, and it didn't pay off, but hey, more time for racing, more time for charities.
It could have been a phenomenal gamble if it did pay off.
If
I'd have respect. Even if I'd have
Feel
lost,
literally,
I'd
you would
have
have been
given you
shaking
massive
his hand like,
respect.
well done for that.
Yeah, no, it was just it was one of those things.
Well, you got to
And
try.
well, the fact was that last time I did it, it did work. And I thought, well, shall I take a risk? Yeah, go on. Have a bit of fun.
I've looked into it on a few occasions to see exactly what it is that
Yes.
gives you the fuel, and I
It'd be
still
amazing
haven't
to
figured
find
it
out.
out.
It'd be amazing to find out. I always thought it was something to do with how many times you hit something. And that's the other reason that I went for that, because I hadn't hit many
I
things.
think that is part of the factor as well, but I think it's also tied crazily. It's something to do with the RPM mechanics as well. I think. I don't know if it's something to do with how long you're on the accelerator, or if coming off it. It sounds really technical for a game that isn't, but it's. I would love to figure out exactly what the coding is behind that.
Right, this is a rough one. I'm going to try and concentrate a wee bit here. So I will let you do the majority of the chatting.
Yeah, so here we are at China again, and yeah, this is why I say enemy cars, because all they do on this track is just get in your way, and you touch one, and about 2 or 3, it's like 1 step forwards, 2 steps back on this track.
This is the hill here, and I got a bit close to
For
the
some
water.
reason, I don't know why, I just thought of the line from Dan. He goes, "Who's driving the car? Stevie Wonder?" I don't know why. I just thought of it for some reason, because they always move over whenever there's water. It's like, "Ugh." A real man drives through water. Real man
You
drives through
can
water.
sometimes use the water on this,
Yeah.
just to, because there are a few corners where
Really good to use
Yeah.
it.
It does just slow you down nicely. I mean, ideally on the very last bend, though, you want to maintain as much speed as you can going up the hill.
I think, in particular, if I remember rightly, Tim, you used the water to slow down in one of the medium tracks.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah,
So
I
I
like
remember
the
you using
water,
it, always hitting
yeah.
it, and then.
Yeah, I like the water's actually one of the only few mechanics in this game that doesn't slow you down, but it doesn't actually really penalise you that badly, apart from if you get it at the bottom of a hill. That's the major problem with it, is if you hit it here,
Yeah.
for example, then you'd be in bother because you'd be stuck all the way up the hill.
Better to hit a car than the water
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, so when we did the race of this last time, me and you beat me, so then Mike's beat you. So why don't we just do a 3-way race next time?
Well, I was going to suggest that, but you didn't want to.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, we have like a one-up competition, and then that one like decides it all, and I'll be the last again anyway. I don't know if people are tuning in for
we need
that.
to
though.
find a 4th person who's willing to play this game, and we'll get 4 players because we could. now.
Emmy's giving us away from the crowd,
Yeah.
so that might work. But it'd be 2 split-screen races,
It
right?
would be,
Oh,
yeah.
then it'd be teams. We'd have to have you and Mike on
Yeah.
individual
Oh,
teams,
yeah, yeah.
That
and
would
then
be
one of
fun,
us would have to
yeah.
be with you. That sounds like a good
Well,
idea.
that sounds like fun.
See, that's a way of making a 2-way race into a 4-way, but using 2 PCs. So we'd
Yeah.
actually save UKSG Tech a great deal, I'm sure.
And I would hopefully not run out of fuel. I'm not going to forget
Lesson
that.
learned. It's a
I'm not
lesson
gonna
learned.
forget
It's
it.
fine. You're all forgiven. You're
This is the
forgiven.
reason that I don't drive.
I mean, I do, and I'm a
I'd be
menace.
forever running out of fuel. Right,
Wasn't
come on.
me that got a speeding ticket the other week.
Oh, that was nasty.
I know, tell me about it. I had to pay
Somehow.
him.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that.
See,
It was nasty though,
we've
yeah.
passed that car, but I thought for a second that it was just going to appear on your right.
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
it
they
is-
do that.
It is the most annoying mechanic in this game when they just clip through you.
It's like, oh look, there's that guy in that red car again. Oh, we'll be a show, just pull in.
Now, I
Very
don't know
well
where I
said.
got this from, but I seem to remember, and I don't know where the proof is for this, that yes, your car is red here, right?
Yeah.
They're all red. They're actually all red.
Huh?
The only reason that you're red is so that we can tell it's the player cars.
Ah.
But if the second player is playing, they're red as well. So
It would
all
make
the cars are red.
It would make sense if this was a game from the early 1980s and colour didn't exist.
No, it's
I'd get that,
they're all red.
because your car would be a dark colour than the rest. But this is just kind of like, oh yeah, we forgot to actually colour all the other cars in something else.
Just a heads up, everyone. Tim's on. This is his last lap, so this will be time when he finishes here. So whoever's in charge of the button, if you can get ready to.
Well,
Who is in charge of the button
we're
these
not
days?
we're not testing the theory
Push
that
the button, man.
that we're going to run out of fuel here though. At least I hope not.
No, you'll be fine.
I would be
Oh,
upset
And
if
the
I
nose
ran out
getting,
of fuel.
that ready.
Okay, time coming up. And time!
Hey!
There we go. Apologies for that, folks. Thank you so much, Mike. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very
well
much.
done. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, UKSG, for having us.
well, before we go,
Yes.
we do have a consolation prize for you, Tim.
Oh,
Yeah. Now I know you
This looks
love
dodgy, I
you
promise
love
it's not.
the Dizzy games, yeah.
oh yes, I
Yeah.
do. What have we got here?
Well, we've got you a bit of a gift. I've got you Dizzy Fantasy World,
yes.
the superior
ST!
Atari
Oh!
ST version.
Look, ST.
It's a
You
bit
do
warm,
realise I'm
sorry.
going to have to get myself an ST now, so I
Do you
can
want to
play
get the
it.
floppy disk out just to show
Yeah,
everyone?
look,
It is a
it's-
legit
look,
copy. I
look,
didn't just
it's-
find a jewel case.
Look at this. Look. The act. Look. Tim's got the price on it.
£6.99.
There we go.
I
Dizzy
also-
on the Atari ST.
I would also like to bring in one more donation before you go, Tiny Tim.
Please.
We have a $25 donation from Mrs. Nordic saying, "Great job of letting Mike win, Tim. Much love from the Nordics."
I'm too nice. That's just what it is. I deliberately ran out of fuel. Anyway, Mike, any final words?
No, I would just like to thank everyone at UKSG for having me. I'd also like to give a shout out to my wife. She was a bit poorly last week, and I'm not going to lie, Monday, Tuesday, I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to be able to make it here, but fortunately, she's getting on the mend, and her dad is able to come and just kind of house sit and her and the boy a bit. So massive thank you to my wife and my father-in-law for just letting me come here. I always thank them for letting me come here because it's
the only time they let you out the house all year.
But no, thank you to them and thank you to everyone at UKSG for having me. As always, it's just absolutely phenomenal people here.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, folks. Again, that's me for now, and we will pass back over to you, Rexy. And thank you again. Cheerio for now.
All right then, thank you very much. Make sure to stick around because we've got an amazing run happening right after this. We've, oh my goodness. I have to absolutely double check the everything in front of me. Okay, so we've got Happy Few. We Happy Few with Swede All That Happening Next. But first of all, we've got very important announcements.
Ooh.
We have met the incentive for Max IQ
Yes.
for Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. So the Wolves is ready to get everything from IQ when that one happens later on this afternoon. That's going to be so hype. We're also going to be able to take a quick break, and we'll be back here shortly with We Happy Few. Take care.